The one thing I did watch was Shane McMahon.
Yeah.
Because first of all, Shane McMahon is my favorite McMahon. We all know that. And even though he's not technically a wrestler, so to speak, he's always been my favorite wrestler because I love him so much. And that's why I was heartbroken when he got in the ring and did his little whoop-de-doo. And he stepped wrong or something came down wrong. I mean, he hardly did anything. And just catastrophe.
He got a lot of air. I think that was the thing. I think he
came down hard.
He got a lot of air. He came down hard, and I don't know. He so officially tore his quad. So it's the same exact injury that Vince had at the Royal Rumble in 2005. Oddly enough. So I think he came down hard, and whatever that pivot was that he tried to do.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's where he lost it.
Popped something.
And that's where disaster took place. Now, I was watching it live, and because I was interested in the segment because full disclosure, I don't like Pat McAfee. I don't like the character. So I saw it the night before. So I was wondering what they were going to do the next night. I almost thought they were going to bring him back out just to get the pop again and do the same exact segment. So I was wondering where they were going to go. I thought they were actually going to go with Stone Cold Steve Austin, to be honest with you. I thought that was where they were going. So when it was Shane, I was like, okay, we got our McMahon on the show. So I was curious how it was going to go down. And I was watching it, and I was shocked. I couldn't believe it.
I'm wondering how much longer that match was supposed to go. Because and kudos to Snoop Dogg for not really being in the business and being a worker, because he was right there and realized what happened. And I don't know if somebody gave him an Iggy. I don't know what happened, but he was right there to get that pin and finish that match. So good on him, because some people would have been like, oh my God, what do I do? And he knows. He was good.
He had more poise, I think, than The Miz during that segment, because The Miz, they kept the camera on The Miz, and The Miz was continuing to like juke a little bit, and because he didn't know what was going on.
Yep.
And I gotta think that Snoop must have had an earpiece, because I think they were feeding Snoop lines to say on the mic, because Snoop only would say, Snoop had sound bites. So Miz did all the talking, but Snoop would be like, I love LA, or this is the best. Like, he spoke 3 words at a time. So Snoop, and I was watching, there was a referee on the outside, but I don't know if she had enough time to give him that much instruction. I was so impressed with how fast he got up there. And I mean, the punch was not good, but Miz went down.
He's not a worker.
No, he's not. But the second punch, I think, was a little stiffer. I thought Miz even had a little bloody lip. But then the people's elbow was like a legit elbow.
Yeah.
That was a drop. I thought, and then Triple H gave him the same kind of kudos that you just did, that Triple H said that some of the seasoned professionals in the business might panic under the pressure of WrestleMania, that Snoop did not. Think about how many concerts that he's done in front of that many people.
Mm-hmm.
I was so impressed with Snoop Dogg during that.
Do you think it was the weed that calmed him down and just let him?
Oh, I'm sure he was probably very well medicated, but
no.
I think that was incredible.
I'm just kidding, but yeah, absolutely. That's what I'm saying. For not, coming up in this business and being a worker and being taught, he was right there to bring it home, and he saved it. He really saved it. But I was just wondering, like, excuse me, how much farther Shane and Miz would have went, like if they had something like 5 minutes worked out or whatever, like. It's really a shame when stuff like this happens. And would we have seen more of Shane on television? Was this him coming back? Was this a one night deal? Like, I
think one night, because him and Miz had a very elaborate storyline like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So I think this was just a one night thing, like with McAfee, because he's off doing his football stuff. I think that was a one night, just whatever. And last night with Shane, it was a one night, whatever. But the other thing, too, that I found very interesting, and I know Vince loved the celebrities, WrestleMania, all those years. This was very celebrity heavy, like almost too much. And I think I watched the Logan Paul Seth Rollins match on the first night. It was okay, but I think people are like, way overblowing how good it was. I think the matches that had like to me, the best match of the weekend was the Rey Mysterio Dominic match. Hands down, the emotion of the story, how well it was executed with the family involved. Oh my God. Please check that out if you want to see a good match with just all the emotion with his wife on the outside and the daughter involved. Oh my gosh. So well done. But the Logan Paul stuff, I mean, yeah, he's very athletic. Yes. But it was too much. The announcers, they made every match was basically positioned as, oh my God, this is the greatest match of the night. Every match was, oh my God, we have to scream our heads off, and it gets to be too much. And you know how like the euphemism of everything but the kitchen sink, right?
Right.
Okay, every match had the kitchen sink in it. So that's why I think everybody loved the main event on Sunday night of Roman and Cody, because it didn't.
Yeah, I know a lot of people were upset that Cody lost.
Oh, I loved it. I thought it was great.
Yeah, a lot of people online were upset that he lost, but I feel like if you're smart, you knew he was going to take that L.
Oh, it was great.
So people were really pissed off. The match that and again, I didn't see it, but the match that everybody was losing their mind over on Twitter was that three-way. What was it? Gunther and Sheamus and Drew?
Yeah.
They were saying that was off the charts, the best thing they've ever seen.
It was okay. I watched it. It was all right. It was okay.
You're the first person to say okay. Especially the boys tweeting.
Yeah, it was
like because I was in real time. I was on my phone. I wasn't watching it, but I was seeing what was going on. Every single person that is in the business was putting this over as the best thing. They worked so hard.
They did. But then it should have been the main event of night one. It shouldn't have been sandwiched in the middle of that WrestleMania.
It's not their fault.
Yeah, I know, but it was a good match. It wasn't the greatest thing I've ever seen.
You're the first person that has said that, because everybody else said how stellar it was. So
I was watching it. I was doing my work. I was watching. I was like, oh, this is a good match. I was not I was not blown away like, wow. But everybody, that's all I've seen. But it didn't blow me away.
Okay.
It didn't grip me. It was hard hitting. You can see how stiff it was. And it's three big, bulky dudes. That's who I like. That's the kind of wrestler I want to watch. Maybe if it took one of them out. I don't love three ways like that. If it took one of them out and it was that match, I would have been a little bit more invested. But it was too many bodies being thrown around. But they did work their asses off. It was a great match. It wasn't the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Interesting. Okay. Well, if you're watching this now or listening to us, leave a comment below. Let us know what you feel was the greatest match, either one, night one or night two. Because I'm curious to see. I know what I read, but I'm curious to see what everybody thinks.
I'll give you another good one. Was John Cena and Austin Theory. Loved it. John Cena. You want to talk about a guy that gives back to the industry, a guy who's on an HBO series that literally doesn't need to even show up to a pay-per-view ever again for the rest of his life, but lays down for the three in the opening match of night one of WrestleMania to help this kid Theory get over.
Right.
And the most clever finish of the weekend, I thought, was that first match. Just made the kid look like $1 million. That to me was the best finish of the weekend.
John gets the business. He understands, that he's not a full-timer anymore. So that's what a good vet does. If you go back, you're going to put over the younger talent, and he did that with grace. And I've said this about John Cena for years, and I've only met the guy once and didn't really have a big conversation with him. But as much hate as he gets out there, and I don't understand why everybody hates the guy so much. He's just playing the role that was given to him. I always felt like overall he was such a well-rounded performer because he's an entertainer. He's a good worker, obviously. But he's an entertainer, and he's proven that by the crossover with becoming a mainstream actor now, So for him to come back and do something like that, like you said, doesn't need to, but it was the right thing to do. And it was so good for business. And I respect him a lot. Like, I don't understand why he gets so much hate from the fans. I know you could like who you want, you could hate who you want, that whatever. But man, if you go back and watch his stuff, super talented.
Yeah.
Really?
I think it's shifted a little bit. I think there's a little bit more respect for him over the years. I think that crowd has started to dissipate a little bit. But I was so impressed with that he didn't need to do that. But he specifically came back. He put this guy over and made him look great. And that's what I was saying about earlier about Brock. Brock, he squashed that big guy, Omos, at WrestleMania. That I thought was awesome. He got him up. He sold his back. They sold the back, slammed him a bunch of times. Omos was planting him in the mat. So the tease was trying to get him up in the F5. He kept, I can't do it. Finally got him up, dropped him with 1, 2, 3. So Brock is a huge baby face. He comes out on Raw teasing he's going to team with Cody as his partner against Roman and Solo of the Bloodline. And then as the match is going to start, he just picks up Cody, F5s. Crowd's booing the shit out of him. Turns to the crowd, gives him the double bird.
Yeah. All I can say is I hope things go as planned for Cody. I hope, because it could change in the blink of an eye. And if they continue to bury him without, building him up again, man, is this going to be a mistake for him, joining WWE again and giving up everything he had in AEW? Like, time will only tell. But
you think that thing with the chair, when he crushed the chair with the sledgehammer?
Oh, the sledgehammer.
You think?
I hope not, for his sake. I hope not, because the fans are behind him.
Oh, they love him. He's over.
They do love him. But then again, we've seen people over get buried. And there's no rhyme or reason to it. So I just hope they don't do it to him, because you never know.
Huge reaction at Mania. Huge reaction on the intro of Raw and at the main event. Yeah, he's ready. They're poised to make him that big star. But I think Brock's going to put him over. And then they're going to build him up again for Roman, because what's funny? It's like they brought him back to the Rumble. Everybody knew he was going to win the Rumble. So it's kind of like, where's the drama in that? He makes his way to Mania. They do the whole finish the story thing, whatever. Where's the drama, right? So now the drama is he lost. He didn't finish the story because the story was kind of just handed to, well, yeah, here's the story. Now the story's going to be, can he defeat him? And I also think they want that round number of Roman Reigns has been champion for 1,000 days. So
okay, well, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But overall, I think a very successful WrestleMania.
Without question.
Yeah. YouTube, it's the Queen of Extreme Francine letting you know that starting April 1st, YouTube will be the home for the Eyes Up Here experience. Along with my co-host Chad, we will be bringing you the best interviews with the hottest stars from wrestling and the entertainment industry. Plus, channel members get access to exclusive video content that includes watch-alongs and much, much more. Subscribe and ring that bell so you get the notifications, and I hope to see you at our next live.